All righty. Happy Valentine's Day. We've got our guest speakers of the evening. Our first guest speaker of the evening is going to go to the one and only Brian O'Neill. And Brian O'Neill is going to talk to all of us today about NET, which is a conference that he just recently went to. And he's going to share with you guys his takeaways. And Brian, tell us a little bit more about NET as well and just any goods that you got for us.
Yeah, well, good to see everyone tonight. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody on here. Yeah, I just came back from Net in Orlando. It was like 3 days of just straight up immersion with a bunch of like Cutco legends like Jason Jeffrey, Brandon Brown, so many people. So like I met at least like 10 plus people who are like at least $1 million in sales, like personally. Like personally, they sold $1 million last year. Burt Wicks was there. Chelsea Rodriguez was there. Like everyone, Curtis JQ's, everyone, all the baller CSPs were there. So it was a really great opportunity to like link arms and rub shoulders with like people who are like doing this full time that were like, yeah, they sold $350,000, $500,000, million plus just last year, right? Like Brandon Brown, he lives and works out of the San Diego office, and he's at like $8.3 million in sales. Just absurd, right? Not absurd. It's attainable and possible. So I had a lot of good takeaways, but one of the main takeaways that I had is it's called the Cutco layer. The Cutco layers, you have to look at Cutco as a business at kind of like an onion, right? An onion has a bunch of different layers to it. And in order to be successful at selling 10, 20, 30, $40,000 in a week, you have to utilize all the layers within the Cutco business. So hopefully everyone has a sheet of paper, a pen to take down some notes because I got some fire to drop on you guys. So the first layer I'm going to talk about is the demo. The first layer are demos. Now, the reason why demos are so important to master, that's the first layer, is because it's the foundation for all the other layers. Mastering the demo is key so you can actually be a professional when you're talking about your Cutco products. When you're talking about the company, you're talking about all the things that Cutco has to offer. Some of the keys that worked for me to master my demo is to master sales. And when I mean master sales, I mean master problem solution selling. Problem solution selling. Sales is when you identify what someone's problem is, and then you utilize Cutco or whatever else you're utilizing to sell as their solution. For example, Jacob, I'm not sure if this problem sort of kind of relates to it all, but the reason why so many people choose to invest in Cutco is they're tired of having dull knives that break. They're tired of having knives when they're new. They're nice, but over time they don't know where to get them sharpened, or if a knife breaks, they have to go buy a whole brand new set. Do any of those problems sort of kind of relate to it all? And then
Yep.
Jacob, as a business or as a husband or family owner, what family owner, as a father, a family owner, would be like, yeah, I relate to these problems. And then you can provide Cutco as a solution. So being able to identify what the pain points are, what the problems are that customers have, and then providing Cutco as their solution to that problem. And then the next thing for the demo to master is just to master the emotional close. So mastering the emotional close is very, very simple. People buy on emotion, not logic. If they bought on logic, everyone would own every single thing that we have, right? It just makes sense. Guaranteed forever. It's the best thing you can have in your kitchen, all the good things. People buy things off of emotion. It doesn't matter what the CPO of the order is, whether it's $100 or $3,500 or $25,000. It matters how you make the customer feel about that deal. That's it. It's the emotion that you're bringing to the table of how that customer feels. So if I'm closing an ultimate set order and the customer is like right on the fence and is like, oh, I don't know, Brian, I like it. I'm thinking about it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, Jacob, if I can go above and beyond for you and hook you up with some things to sweeten up the deal, just make it a little extra special just for you, would you consider looking at what that would be? Okay. Yeah, I could add on some little extra sauce on the top, right? It doesn't matter what the CPO is, it matters how you make the customer feel about that order, about that experience, about that transaction. Okay. So those are demos. The next layer is service calls. So I personally love service calls because it's your opportunity to meet with a lot of people who own Cutco, and Cutco owners are the best people to meet because you don't have to sell them. You don't have to have your salesman hat on. You talk to them and they're like, "Oh my God, Cutco? I've had my Cutco for 35 years, 40 years, 50 years. It's amazing. And you're like, oh, sweet. I don't have to like tell you about brass rivets and talked about thermal resin and all of that. You know how good the stuff is, right? So with service calls, it's your opportunity to bring up quality. Now, the reason why people buy a Cutco is it's a great quality product and the value's there. But another reason why people buy Cutco is our guarantee, right? Free sharpening forever. They never have to worry about having dull knives or broken items ever again. So when people buy Cutco from you, you have to make sure you're providing that service for them. Service calls is your opportunity to be able to meet with customers and sharpen all their Cutco for free, and then help add on more pieces to their collection. So with service calls, I like to relate it back to a company called First Forum. I don't know if anyone on here is familiar with First Forum other than Jacob, but First Forum is a supplement company that's based out of St. Louis. It's been around for about 25 years or so. And one of their core values is customer service. Well, I have been buying from First Form for years because every single time I buy something from their company, their order comes with a handwritten thank you card from one of the people at the factory. They always send me like some First Form swag, whether it's like a bookmarker or just like for Christmas, I got a whole entire like tin, like a Christmas tin from them. Like I didn't even expect it. It was filled with protein bars and energy drinks. It wasn't part of my order, but they just threw in some extra swag just to sweeten up the deal. And look, I'm talking about them on a presentation. So that's the key with Cutco. It's all word of mouth referrals. If someone feels good, like, oh my goodness, Brian hooked me up with this set and gave me some free gadgets out of his commission. That's a sweet dude. I'm going to tell all my friends about him. It's the same thing with any quality thing. That's why I love service calls because you can bring forward that service element of Cutco and more of like your personal element to that. Um, the next layer is fairs and shows. So fairs and shows is fantastic. It allows you to get a lot of repetitions in to be able to master your craft of sales. Think about it. When you're at a booth, you have people coming up to you left and right, and it's your opportunity to talk to a new person every 5 seconds and bring up Cutco. Being able to handle the objections, being able to handle the script, being able to work with different kinds of personalities. Events really allows you to get those repetitions in, to get those 10,000 hours to help you develop your skills and really fine tune it. Plus, my favorite thing about events is your opportunity to meet really cool people, especially Cutco owners. I can't tell you how many times I'll be working at an event and like an old lady will come up and be like, "Oh my goodness, I've had my Cutco for like 65 years," and then buy another paring knife. And then you can get service call leads where you can sharpen their products and add more to their collection and give upgrades. So events and shows are such a great opportunity to build your overall customer base too. It allows you to be able to have a bigger network of people that you can market to. And that goes into the fourth layer, which is past customer marketing. So past customer marketing is the next layer, and this is a really great layer once you've been in the company for 6 months to a year. Once you really start to build a good customer base, then you can reach out to them and add value to your customers. And as you progress with this job, as you get more repetitions in with working with different kinds of people, your skills are going to become much better. So when you talk to like your first week demos and service them in a year, and your skills from like when you first started selling versus like a year into the job, you're going to be way better than when you first started. So you can sell them more Cutco and provide quality service to them while you're there. So keeping in touch with all your customers is very important because it helps them keep in mind of like, hey, I have a Cutco guy. I have a Cutco gal who's gonna be able to take care of me and be able to be the solution to all the problems that I have in my kitchen. And then lastly, I have for you guys is business gifts. So business gifts is the fifth layer. That's a layer that I'm really, really looking into get into this year. Business gifts it gives you the opportunity to have higher ticket CPO orders. For example, when I was at Net, they were actually talking about business gifts. There was a business gift speech, and someone in the crowd just closed a $25,000 CPO order at the event. $25,000. The customer bought like I think a whole bunch of like single individual knives and like gift sets, but $25,000 in one order, right? So business gifts, it's great because you get to network with people who own businesses or people who are in sales, like real estate agents, mortgage brokers, lenders, anyone you know who is a small business owner. They can use Cutco get whatever they want engraved onto the product, and then use it as a closing gift or an employee appreciation gift. So it's a great opportunity to not only have the higher ticket CPO orders, but also be able to network with really cool people like small business owners. Because guess what? You're a small business owner too. Congratulations. We're all 1099s here, right? So they relate to that. They understand that. They're like, oh, sweet. Look at this kid hustling, trying to sell me knives. Like, I get it. I'm running like a deli. I'm running like a sewing shop. Like, they get it, right? So those are the 5 layers of the Cutco onion that once you start to master and you start to incorporate into your weeks and progress with doing Cutco, if you master all the layers and then you add on different layers, all the layers, for example, in a week, that's how you have the magic happen. That's when you have the 5, the 10, the 15, the $20,000 weeks. Because if you're doing like 5 service calls, 5 demos, and you have a show over the weekend, that's that's recipe for success. So guys, what questions do you guys have for me? Or if we have time for questions.
Awesome. I'm just gonna stop the recording here.